Alright guys, so today we have Huraira Khan with us, who is our new funded trader here at forexprofirm.com. He recently completed his two-step evaluation and now he is our funded trader. So if you don't know who we are, at forexprofirm.com, we provide real capital up to $10 million. We offer two different funding models. The one is two-step evaluation, the other one is instant funding model. You can take $25,000 account, you can take $50,000 account, you can take $100,000 account. We also have $200,000 and $400,000 account. Now you can trade stocks, commodities, forex, and indices as well. And this interview is sponsored by 8cap. So make sure that you use the link if you want to check out 8cap as well. I have added the link in description. And if you want to know more about forexprofirm.com, make sure to check out the link as well from the description. Now let's start. And please, Huraira, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, how did you start trading?
I'm Huraira Khan. Born and raised in Toronto, Ontario, but actually from my background is Pakistani, right? Basically, we have multiple geographical land here. So from the mountains, so we live here down south, and my brother Jawad, who's interviewing me, actually also does, which is an amazing coincidence, right? That's one thing. I like to drive sports cars. I like music. I like to go out for dinner. All these different things, right? Like this trader lifestyle. But I definitely started with basically a mindset of, hey, I'm getting educated in business, right? It's university.
Right.
But I just didn't see the vision as much as people would say it was, because people who would graduate, they end up with jobs that are not really freedom. They don't get paid as much as they should. So when I learned about the markets, I was 15 years old, right? I wasn't old enough to trade at the time, right? Obviously, you have to be at least 18.
Yes.
So I just saw the potential in it, and basically you can be on your laptop doing it, studying it, and that way you can make a full-time income and true access to wealth. That's really what I would say. I started a couple of YouTube videos, basic stuff, people, support and resistance, trend lines and stuff. But I did try that out initially, and that's basically how I started, man. I deposited $500, and the rest is history.
Yeah. All right. So you were inspired by the laptop lifestyle. Just a laptop, internet connection, some funds in your account, and we are good to go. Awesome.
Exactly.
And how long have you been trading?
I've been doing this for about 3.5 years. So I remember exactly, it was March 2019.
All right.
I was in second year of my program, and it's funny, at the time I didn't feel the resonation with it. So I just decided I'm going to put all my time and effort into making sure I'll be successful in this space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, can you please briefly describe your trading plan?
Basically I trade highs and lows.
All right.
A week in the day. So basically what that would entail is you're looking for the highest price for a sell. It's just like any other business, right? I would find an opportunity to sell at a premium price.
Okay.
And the higher it is, the more profit I have. And if I want to buy, look for a discount, right?
All right.
I would look for the lowest price of that asset. So let's say they're printing price at New York session. I would wait for them to basically pierce a demand zone, right?
Okay.
Which would be the lowest price, and that's where I would take my entry. And when it comes to sell, I would also look for a supply zone. Basically, supply and demand zone would be an area that has been untapped. Institutions, there's an imbalance. So let's say there was a huge spike in price, right? And there's inefficiency. So that retracement into that area, I would just wait for that reprice and just take a safer entry that way.
All right. So I basically use supply and demand myself as well in trading. I use it
Nice.
mostly for exits, for entries, and my stop loss is also based on the concepts of supply and demand and the liquidity hunt. That is my way of trading, but it is really great to know
Nice.
that you also use the similar concepts in trading to make a living. So, all right.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the next question. Sorry?
Yeah, I want to expand actually a little bit more on that.
All right.
So like a lot of YouTubers and this new generation of traders have been thinking of the smart money concept thing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, a lot of that is actually false. Like, because you can mark up supply and demand zones almost on every time frame.
Exactly.
Right? And they're mostly like, I know institutions do this on purpose to keep you kind of like guessing, right?
Yeah.
I would say is I focus more on the higher time frames, right? So like literally weekly lows, daily lows, and then H4 and H1 would be the places I would want to enter, right? So let's say there's a consolidation, right? There's usually a range during Asia, and then there's a breakout during London, right? They start pumping price or dumping price. And then New York would be the time that they tend to reverse. I'm pretty sure if you go to your charts, you can see that, right? And you don't want to be the guy who's getting in too early, right?
Yes, exactly.
I focus on let them clear liquidity, like you said, like keeps the zone. Like then after that, once they break the market structure, right? They would break market structure. But this is a higher time frame perspective. I'm not looking at those 1 minutes or the 5 minutes, right?
All right.
The higher time frame perspective. And once they break structure from there, a Fibonacci retracement would give me a really like tight stop with a high risk to reward, man. And I go for minimum at least 1 to 5, 1 to 10, sometimes even 1 to 15, man. Like when there's news. So
1 to 5 risk reward ratio.
Basically,
1 to 10 risk reward ratio are literally the highest I have ever seen. If you can target and make 1 to 5, that is perfect. And I'm very excited that you are using low risk to make the high rewards. Very great, man. All right, so now let's move on to the next question. What is your most favorite pairs? Which pairs do you like to trade the most?
Indices.
All right.
Nowadays, they've been trending for since like April or something.
Yes, 22nd April.
Bearish trend, and even gold. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that gold is definitely because gold also gives you those opportunities where there's tight consolidation, right?
Yes.
And then when the institutions come in, there's usually an algorithm that reprices, and that's when you can make some good money, man. And with NASDAQ, with 30, and even JPY crosses, crosses, when they trend, like you can swing that for weeks.
Exactly.
For weeks and even a month, right? So
it has been gaining a lot of weakness for last few months, and we can see the trend is going crazy towards the upward side against all JPY pairs. Exactly. Very great.
Yeah. How about you, brother? That's a question I'm curious.
Well, I mostly focus on trading the major 28 pairs of Forex, and I also then trade gold. My main pairs are US dollar pairs and gold, but I like to keep myself focus on all pairs of the 28 pairs that I have in my watch list. I basically do a complete check. Like I try to mark every single pair that has the potential for the next 24-48 hours to give me a trade opportunity. So every day I'm just making my watch list. I am using these 28 pairs and gold. Total there are 29 that I use, and I've been using it for around 5.5 years. The same thing, I've been doing it over and over and over and again for the last 5.5 years.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the best thing, because you don't want to be guessing. Like it's like being a doctor, right?
Yes.
Like doctors, they specialize. like when you specialize in a certain pair, or like you start to realize like, yo, the behavior is always the same, right?
Exactly.
You do the same thing over and over, and that's why, like, alhamdulillah, man, you're doing well, man. Good for you.
Thank you so much. All right. So tell
Yeah.
me whether you are a scalper, a day trader, or a swing trader. I myself a day trader. I have been day trading for 5 years. I never did scalping. I barely do swing trading, but most of the times I'm a day trader. So tell me about yourself.
With me, there's no like specific style.
All right.
I can change it up. Like I change it up, right? Like let's say the market is trending like
Uh-huh.
really quick, you know, I would become a swing trader, right? Because I know they have potential to break the range, right? And potentially go for like more, like let's say there was a break in structure on a weekly time frame or a daily time frame, and I know they're going to be if I see them targeting like liquidity on
All right.
different like, on a zone on a higher time frame, I'd swing it until that price and just take profits like on the way there, right? Like major key levels. And then let's say there's news, right? Like
Yes.
NFP, FOMC. I would be a day trader, man, on that day, or even a scalper, right? Like, cause like those moves are really fast. Like they'll happen in 5 minutes
Yes.
or so, and I'll be out, right? I just, when it comes to market manipulation, I'm well aware of what they do, and I want to just take advantage of that most like liquid time, and then I'll just be out, call it a day, man. Yeah.
Like the move we had a couple of days ago after the CPI data got released. The dollar started to pick up a lot of strength across all pairs because now there are huge chances that on the next Federal Reserve FOMC meeting, Federal Reserve is literally gonna increase the interest rate hikes. Even there's a chance that they will increase it by 100 base point.
Okay.
So that is the
Like
reason
that.
why that big move across US dollar pairs and on the gold it happened because dollar
Yeah.
gained a lot of strength just because of that thinking that now the FOMC when it will release there is a huge chance 36% chance actually that the interest rate will be increased by 100 basis point. So market started to adopt earlier already.
Right. See, that's something. When I first started, right, I thought fundamentals was the holy grail, and like everyone was doing
Yeah.
fundamentals. But I realized like fundamentals is just an excuse to do what they were gonna do anyways, right?
Yes.
Like it's a driving
Mm-hmm.
factor for price to be manipulated more. And like the other day, man, I wasn't trading personally that day. I was with family,
Yeah.
but man, like man, when you like, let's say you do see that news like come in, or you see these reports, it's kind of an indicator, like okay, get ready, like prepare
Hmm.
yourself, you know? Yeah, definitely, man.
Do you trade on particular sessions like the London session, Asian session, or New York session? Do you specialize in anyone?
New York and Asia. So New York, I would see that okay, they're during London, they're making higher highs,
Yes.
lower lows, and when the New York opens, I don't just like get in right away. I make sure that okay, let me make sure they pierce that demand zone, pierce that supply zone, and break structure at that area, and that's a reversal.
All right.
Then the next day, there's usually the next day, like around Asian session open. That's when I would scale in on positions to add to that, like once that's at break even, and or scale out if I need to.
All right. All right. So tell me about your trading history, like from the very beginning.
Oh man, it's kind of funny, right? Looking back, it's like wow. Uh, yeah, like I'd say when I first started, I just thought it would be like, okay, let me deposit some money and I'm good. Like now it's just time for me to, just trade anything. Like if I see market just move down, I'm gonna sell. If they move
Mm-hmm.
up, I'm gonna buy. But it's the complete opposite, right? Um, yeah. So I started. Uh, around March 2019, and that's when I just started looking on YouTube, right? Support and resistance trend lines. So my strategy at the time was, when they tap the support area, there's usually going to be a retracement and like that breakout of a trend line.
Mm-hmm.
So like if they tap them 3 times, I'm gonna wait for them to break, and I'm gonna take a reversal trade, right? But I didn't see success using that strategy because I thought to myself, I'm like, yo, man, like, this is free knowledge on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm pretty sure the retail space tends to lose more than they should, right? And also, like, I wasn't aware of psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, let me try to flip accounts quick, and I'll get rich that way, right? So I took a step back, right, about a year and a half after.
All
I
right.
just got tired of, like losing. I just got tired of doing the same thing, right? And I got educated on supply and demand, like Wyckoff theory.
Yes,
I don't know if you're familiar,
I'm familiar with that.
right? Very ancient, like accumulation, distributions, redistributions, right?
Yes.
And I just simplified it to the point where I can understand it. And then as I was back testing it, as I was testing it, so time frame wise, this would be around when COVID started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just got locked in. I went to the library every day. I'm like, okay, I gotta get good at this before I actually want to make a career, right? So yeah, and I started to notice like the patterns and different behaviors at certain timings, and I would just write them down.
Mm.
I'd write them down, and then I start to see different patterns and also discoveries that I would make, right? Like, let's say I got educated by somebody online, like a mentor or something, but then the market is the biggest teacher, right? That's what I would say to everybody. Like, yes, you get your fundamental knowledge, but take that time to kind of become that creator for yourself, right? Adjust it to your lifestyle. And yeah, like when I started doing that, I was on demo for like 2 weeks,
Okay.
and then I started to see like, okay, good returns and just a better, like, relaxed mind, right? Also understanding like risk to reward. That was very key to me, and realizing like, wow, you can really get some sniper entries, once you understand, right? Yeah, so this was around COVID, April 2020. So now June, I heard about prop firms, right? I'm like, what's a prop firm, right? FTMO, and like I think
Yeah.
it was my Forex fund. My Forex funds wasn't out at the time, so it was just FTMO, right?
Yes.
And I took my first challenge, and just to let everybody know, like, yeah, guys, it's a different psychology when you're trading a small account versus a bigger account, right? Uh, I would say, like, at that time, I was working a job that I wasn't happy with. So I started to like force things, right? I was like, okay, I can just trade with the prop firm and I'm good, right? But that's also like a bad thing because you're gonna rush. So
Yes.
don't get scared, right? Don't rush him. Like, you have plenty of time, man. 30 days is more than enough.
Yes.
So I rushed that one, and it did end up like hitting max drawdown, right? So then I'm like, okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get more experience with it. So I started focusing more on like my life, man, like fitness, health, you know, even like good relationship with family, and at the same time, like kind of detaching from the outcome. Like, guys, like, you're good, as long as you have a roof over your head, you have a car to drive, you have a good family support system. That's more than enough, right? So then, few months later, I took the FDMO challenge again,
All
and I
right.
was like, okay, I'm ready. So it was a 25K. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
25K, and yeah, man, that was a success, and I was happy. I was definitely happy about that. And yeah, I took that money and I started reinvesting it into myself, you know, and yeah, it was a good experience, man. And then from there to now, I just been learning about new firms, man. Like, okay, what's the new firm out here, right? They have a unique offering. It's actually something you do, right? Like I saw your YouTube and you're just reviewing different firms, which
Yes,
makes it easier for us, man. Thank you for that,
you're welcome.
and yeah, I got yeah. So I got funded with TMO. Then it was my Forex ones. Then we had another one. I think it's E8 funding, right?
Yes,
Um, they're good too, and they got more competitive, man. Like the
yes.
biweekly withdrawals, that was also amazing. Crypto withdrawals, more drawdown, right? So, uh, yeah, I've been doing that using trade copier and just copying the trades onto those. Yeah,
Awesome. So how many
ever
actually
since.
accounts did you blow? Like the challenges did you blow up?
Uh, I would say in total, it would be like three.
Okay.
Like, yeah, three in total. Since, but that was like 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And since then, like I started learning more about myself and just doing less, right? I think less is more because what patience is key, right?
Oh,
You
good.
sit
Yes.
on your hands, sit on your hands for like a week,
Uh,
wait for that, wait for that news release or that big trade of the week, and you're passed and literally won in a few trades, right?
yes.
But there are some times where if you want to get through it quicker, right, and you have more opportunities, just take it. Uh, so yeah, since then I'm actually sitting at about five
All
funded
right.
accounts, and
That is very
this
great.
would be yeah, man. This would be my sixth, so
Okay,
it's a blessing.
awesome. Very, very
A
good.
blessing, man.
Very good.
Yeah,
So I always say to my viewers that only focus on two good trades when doing the challenge, whether it's
right.
with any firm. Focus on the first good trade. Target at least 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. All right. Do
Yeah,
not just take the trade blindly, randomly, or a boredom trade. Like you are bored, you have nothing on your charts, you don't see any market structure, and you end up just buying and selling at the random price. So never do that. Only focus. Your first trade should be a very high risk reward and a higher probability trade, like 1 to 3 risk reward at least. If you can literally make money from that, if you are risking $1,000, you are making $3,000 out of that. So use that $3,000 on your next trade. All right. So if you
yeah,
use that $3,000, if you lose, then you haven't lost anything so far. You are still at break even. But if you win that trade, your challenge is already passed.
yeah. I'd agree, but that's something I wouldn't recommend all the time,
All right.
because like let's say that like you don't have much experience.
Yeah.
The average person would try to like chase it, right?
Yes,
Chase it,
exactly.
revenge it. Let's say they did risk that 3,000 on it and they lost, they'd be like, oh, I gotta make it back, right?
Hmm.
But no, as long as you have that stick plan and that process, you can do well. But
Yes.
with me, I've actually found more success risking like 0.5%.
Okay. All right.
Like it's just easier on the mind. Like I can just shut off my computer and just go about my day and let it target, right? So with the Fibonacci, right?
Yeah.
With the Fibonacci, I've realized like, yo, I can scale in multiple positions on one trade. Like let's say I got in at the high of the day, right? For a sell, there's always going to be that retracement. Once they
Exactly.
retrace price into your new supply zone, there's going to be a new supply zone created on the way down. Yeah, put that at break even, and then open another trade. Risk some of
Yes.
the profits that you made on that one on this one. So that way, let's say you targeting 1 to 5, right? Now you'd be looking at, okay, I'm risking 1 to 5. I make like with the 50K, right? Let's use this as an example. Uh, I'm looking at 1250 bucks, right? Sure. Now take half of that
Yes.
Half of that. Now risk that onto the scaling. And then you go for another 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. Because I noticed that with retracements, with the initial move, right? With the reversal, you can't really tell exactly when it's going to happen.
Mm.
But with the retracement, it's very predictable.
Yes.
That, okay, they're just going to retrace and go back to that zone from supply to a demand. So that way, I get that Fibonacci tool, and it's just like when you look at your risk to reward, right? Your stop would be this much,
Yes.
and you're looking at this much.
Exactly.
It's an amazing thing, right? So I'd say like once you're at break even, scaling, man, it's one of the best ways to just like make more money and also like achieve higher risk to reward. And like your beliefs about the market will start to change. Like you start to think with abundance, right? Like institutions, guys, like we're just trying to piggyback on them. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel or
Yeah.
nothing, right?
Yeah.
They have millions and millions and millions.
Yes, exactly.
Like your 20,000, your 100,000 is pretty much
Nothing.
nothing to them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nothing.
They're trading with multiple millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, or even some with billions of dollars. The institutions, they are trading with that much amount. And we are literally that much to them. So we are nothing as compared to what they are doing. Exactly, you're right.
And also you start to realize like in your own life, like people are going to look at you like, wow, he's wealthy. Right?
Yes.
He's wealthy. But that's a blessing. First of all, that's a blessing. And also like understand like people say that money doesn't grow on trees, money is limited, but get that out of your mind and start to think like, yo, there's unlimited abundance.
Exactly.
Unlimited. You're more than capable.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that was, pretty awesome to hear about your story, how you started, how many accounts you blown up, how did you get funded, how long have you been funded? That is very, very impressive. So kudos to you, brother, for doing the great job. All right. So now let's move on and talk about the key moment in your trading career. It can be a good thing or a bad thing.
Man, I would just simplify it as this, like, all right, being the first entrepreneur from my family, right? Like, I grew up in a family where it's mostly like they work a job or they, they have a good paying job, but it just doesn't come with the freedom. And being able to say like, I can make money. It's not about the money, right? It's like the things that it gives me, the time freedom, being able to do what I want.
Be your own boss.
That's the biggest blessing. And also, yeah, exactly. Being the own boss and also like striving for more goals. Like when I got my first funded account, that was like a big thing. I was like, yo, I can do this. Like I just have to rinse and repeat, right? And that those are the good things. But the bad would be like, I tried to use expert advisors like robots and stuff. And I did blow a couple of accounts that way. But good thing I didn't like risk too much doing that. There were some online that I found that I was like, oh, and there were prop firms that are allowing PAs. I just wanted to test it out and see like, hey, can I automate my business? Can I have passive income, right? Like I do have active, like me doing it myself manually. But with the robots, I just didn't get the results I wanted,
Yes.
Like it was actually like kind of dumb, like looking back, because I was like, this is something I would do myself, but the robot isn't understanding risk properly. Or even like the take profits, right? Like it wouldn't take profit at certain levels that it should. And I believe that institutions and what drives the market, they know about all these things. They know about all these bots and they've seen it, right? They actually have an algorithm. It's called institutional price delivery algorithm. So when a session opens and you see those big candles, that's when that's when they kick in, right? Or
Yes.
when you see tight consolidations in Asia, that's an algorithm, right? They're at home, like guys in New York, they're at home doing what they do. But when they step in the office and you see those big trades, like those guys are driving them. And yeah, I'd say just like you can, I've seen people successful with algorithms, but until I find that and I test it, that's the next time I'm gonna try it. But until now, I'm good myself, man. That was definitely a bad experience with that. And also, actually, one more thing, like with family, like they would say like they don't believe in it. They believe it's like a gambling
Hmm.
type of thing, but it's not really like that,
Yes.
man. And just the belief system, gotta make sure it's on point, guys. All right.
Oh, I can understand what you just said, that the family considered this business a gambling. We are from the same background almost. And I
Yeah.
used to have a lot of difficulties back then as well, because no one literally understood what I was trying to do. I was
Yeah.
I was trading, and they had no idea, because the conventional way is to just do a job, get paid, come back home, and that's all. So
Yeah.
it is definitely something that uh, even the family do not understand at first, but when you start to generate some profits, you get consistent and you start to do well, automatically they realize, all right, so that is actually something and you can make money from it.
Yeah. And so what when was that like? When did you start doing it and when did your family find out?
Well, I first came to know about Forex back in 2016. It was in
Okay.
September 2016. And I told my parents, I told my brothers that this is a Forex thing. We can invest, learn how to trade and make money. But they had no idea about that. Even I had no idea before that. So, but it actually, sparked me. I decided that I'm going to spend some time to understand what it actually is. I risked couple of $1,000 back then. I lost that amount, but after that I started learning different strategies. We all start from the YouTube. We all get impressed by the laptop lifestyle, trader lifestyle videos. So that was me
Right.
as well back in 2017, early 2017. But I was investing in my education. Like I was buying courses from different mentors at that time. So that is how I learned. But my parents, my family, they never believed in it. They never realized that it is actually a business, and they kept saying me that all right, you can do it, but do not consider that you will ever make money. That was their words. So it took me at least 2.5 years, because I first made my payout in 2019. My first profit was back in 2019. So it took me 2.5 years to
Wow.
get profitable. And I have been working with different prop firms since April 2019 as well. So
Wow.
I'm not new to prop firms. I've been doing it. At that time there were only two firms, BlueFX and FTMO, and literally no one heard about that in the industry, in the forex industry. So because I remember FTMO used to say that we actually give you capital if you pass the evaluation, and everyone was calling them scam. So now almost everyone knows what Forex Pro Firm is, how to make money with Forex Pro Firm, the different account models and all. And now there are many, many Forex Pro Firm as well. We also offer here at forexprofirm.com the real capital. There are many other competitors as well. So now the pro firm industry is definitely growing. But back then, we do not really had that much, pro firm new pro firms in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that your name is Forex Proper is very interesting, right? Like that's an amazing name to choose from because like having the name forexpropfirm.com is like so easy. Like someone Google search it and it'll be right
Yeah.
there, right? That's actually how I found out about it. So I realized like something actually why I was interested in this firm was the scaling plan,
Yes.
like, okay, I can make 10% per step up to 10 million. Come on, you know?
Yes.
And yeah, definitely, I would love to discuss this with you more. When I'm in town,
Yeah, sure.
I'll come by or something. Cause
Yeah, sure. All right. So let's move on and talk about how did you develop your psychology? Like most important thing when it comes to trading is psychology. Trading strategy is around 20% of the overall trading, but psychology is the most important thing. So what was your psychological effects that you experienced in trading?
the first one was just being attached to the outcome. That was actually my biggest obstacle because I just wanted to make money at the start, right? I was like, oh, and how come I'm not getting the results I want to, right?
Yeah.
So just thinking that way and also thinking long term, right? From a short term mindset, changing into a long term
Yes.
mindset. Um, how I did that was really just reflecting on my life, right? Because I looked at my life and I was like, my life is good, even though I'm not earning at the moment, right? Like the amount I want to, I'm still living a good life. I have good friends, I have a car that I can drive, right? And I started to think, okay, look, process is the most important thing that will give me the results I want as a byproduct, right?
Yes.
That's the actual thing that will get me the result I want. So let me focus on that and just make it as simple as possible, right? Simplifying it changed the game for me because it was like, okay, I don't need to write it down anymore. In my head, if I open this chart right now, I know exactly what to do and when to do it.
So it was very great to know how you started with trading, your experience, how did you develop your strategy, how did you become profitable, and how you got your funded account, and now you have 6 funded accounts. So I'm very impressed to know that. And now I want to move forward and start wrapping this interview. So let's start the recap. I want to know what was your strategy. Let's recap it. Your strategy that you used to pass the forexprofirm.com evaluation.
Okay, so just to recap, I trade the highs and the lows of the day or the week, right? So basically, the market usually starts off with a weekly candle, right? Once the Monday sets a high or a low, I would wait for a trend to be created, right? And that is usually a time where they either retrace into a supply zone or a demand zone. And I would just look for a buy low, like a discounted price to buy. And then I would target previous highs as my take
All
profit,
right.
right? And then the way to enter would be a Fibonacci, just to scale in. And for sell, it would be the same thing, but instead of I would sell at a supply zone that has been untapped. So let's say there's an inefficient pricing. I would just wait for the retracement. Now I would sell from that new supply zone back into a previous low and take profits on the way there. Yeah, and I would risk 0.5% per trade. Once I'm at break even, I would scale in or scale out when I need to.
All right.
And there are times where, let's say they want to extend the range, right? There's the new month starts, right? That's usually a time they extend the range and I could swing that trade for more pips. Yeah, and this is at New York session. And when I want to scale in on a trade, I would scale in during Asian session.
All right.
Yeah, it's basically my strategy.
So, all right. Now, what would you recommend who is just starting out with forexprofirm.com or just starting trading in general?
My biggest advice to those who are starting out is to just get educated, man. Like this is a marathon,
Yeah,
not a sprint. Okay.
exactly.
Just like any other business, any other career, like you need to get educated and something, it's not as hard as we think. Stuff we
Yes.
learn in university or school is much more complicated, But in here, you're getting paid more, way
Yeah.
more. There's more opportunities. And I would say just change your beliefs about money, right? Growing up, people would say, oh, there's no money, things are expensive, this, that, and fourth, okay? Start to believe that there's unlimited amount of abundance in this world. And a way to do that is just to focus on your health, man. Like, focus on your health, your mind, also like have a daily routine. That's actually a big thing, right? I have a daily routine.
All right.
Wake up before the charts.
Okay.
Take your time, man. Get ready for the day. Like, exercise, pray, like with me, I pray in the morning, like prayers, meditate in the sun. Like, sun is like so important for you to charge your mind, right? Have like fresh fruit juice. All right. Before my session. Okay. That energizes me. Nice. Have a shower. Yeah, I'll be ready. That's a good routine I would recommend. And also, like, just detach from the outcome, man. All right. Like, the markets aren't running away from you. They're always going to be here, right? Just understand that, like, it's kind of like a snail or a turtle. Like, they're slow, but they get to their point. But as you gain more experience, as you get better, and you understand your patterns, your trading plan, right? And also, like, your self-knowledge, knowing yourself, how you think, how you react to certain things. Once you get that down, then I would say, okay, kind of get more advanced and pick up the pace, right? Yeah, that would be my biggest advice to new traders. And also get organized with your day, right? Like this would be controversial, but I'm going to say it, right? Through journals, I don't believe in journaling too much. All right. I'll tell you why. Because market conditions change all the time. Exactly. Okay. Like, you can't expect to get the same trade you got like way before, like a few months ago, right? Yeah. Just understand the fundamentals of the market and just know that, okay, what are you seeing at this moment? Then react based off that. Don't predict too much. Like, people predict their charts. That's a big mistake as well. But the only thing I'd say is to journal is your money, right? Like, yeah. Have a good accountant for tax season. Also, a spreadsheet so you know how much you're making, how much is going out for your daily expenses, your lifestyle, and start to like also like give yourself rewards, man. Like, if you perform good, just walk away for like a week and go on a vacation or something. I actually, before this interview, I was actually in Ahmedabad and Murray, like in the mountains. All right. Yeah, I know that. And, I've been there many times. Experience, yeah. It's just a great experience, man. Like, that actually will refresh your mind and make you perform more. So, guys, like, take your time. If you want to get funded, like, understand that Forex prop firm is giving you an opportunity to scale from anywhere from 50K all the way to 10 million, right? So it's that marathon mindset that'll eventually get you there, man. Yeah, great things take time. Definitely. Actually, yeah. Great things take time, man. And and also, like, once your account's in profit, that's the time you'd start to bump up your risk a bit. Right? When you're at break even, you're at initial balance, like, risk less. Once you make more, that's when you can just like exponentially grow, man. Yeah, that's what I have to say. That was very awesome, brother. I'm very excited to hear your story. I'm very impressed as well. And thank you so much for your time, for the energy that you put into the interview and talked about your story, how you became a profitable trader. That was very interesting to know. So thank you so much for your time, Huraira. Again, if you don't know who we are, at forexprofirm.com, we provide capital up to $10 million. You can take our two-step evaluation or instant funding model and become our next trader.
So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.